Hello and welcome to the weird, wacky and wonderful world of the HellfireComms dramatic readings. Today I'm going to be reading you a story known as Tales of the Spageti Womna. No, I don't know what the fuck either. 2 chapters, let's begin. One Friday evening, Samus, Ridley, Levi and Mr. T, brackets, woo, close brackets, were having a slumber party at Levi's house. One Friday evening, Samus, Ridley, Levi and Mr. T, brackets, woo, close brackets, were having a slumber party at Levi's house. Oh, déjà vu. Samus set off the evening conversation with blasting a can of clove snake at Levi. Levi wasn't the Britist and yelled, "Oh, snakes!" and everyone laughed, except for Levi, who was too scared because there were snakes on him, but there really weren't because they were just clove snakes and they were not real. Samsu intelligently pointed out, "They're not real, Levi," and everyone laughed and laughed. "Ha ha ha!" Lee shook over the shrieks and tried to regain his composure. "So," he sniffed haughtily, "what shall we do?" Ridley piped up. "Well, I think Mr. T, brackets, woo, close brackets, brought a Ouija board with him. Mr. T, brackets, woo, close brackets, wordledly and coolly pulled out a board, and the group gazed in awe. Mr. T, brackets, woo, close brackets, this is getting really old by the way, was too cool to be an awe over the Ouija board, because he have it for a long time, and it was nothing spatial. Levi yelled ecstatically, "I wanna try it, I wanna try it, I wanna try!" And everyone lagged, as usual, because Livick was a clown. Well, not a real clown, but just a real funny guy. "What the H-E-double hockey sticks is a Ouija board?" Sems asked shilly. Everyone giggled. Even Samus, because you know it's hard to resist sometimes with your friends, and Ridley, who is extraordinarily hot, Ridley answered kindly, "It's a board that lets you talk to dead people, who have moved to beyond this life, brackets, because what we have been is what we are, close brackets." Samsu looked down dotably at the mustachioed Italian on the board. "Prove it," she scoped. "Well, I'll need a volunteer," Ridley said, and Mr. T, brackets, woo, close brackets, nodded in agreement. Levi had always been te butt end of every joke, so he was like, "Give me a shot, I'll show you that my ancestors think I'm amazing and will chicken the world." Everyone looked to Lev Whippo seemed to be very sure of himself. "Okay, then let's give it a whirl." Everyone watched closely and excitedly. There was complete silence. Levi set his ladylike, well-moisturized hands on that moving bit on a Ouija board, brackets, you know the one, close brackets, and called out in a dramatic-y voice, "Oh, hello there, my dead, dusty, corpsey ancestors. Speak, that I may benefit from your knowledge, because you are dead, and therefore by default wise and knowledgeable about the ladies." Slowly it spelt I-H-O-P-E, she, maid. There was a sudden sound, and everyone jumped at it, and Levi fell back from the Ouija board scared. Once everyone realized it was nothing, they all laughed at Levi for being such a fraddy cat. Levi growled because he was angry, and shot back with venom in his voice. "Don't you guy make fun of me, one. I am about to receive the information from my dead ancestors that will change my life forever." At that, Mr. T, you know what, I'm not opening and closing any more brackets, fuck stuff, in parentheses, raised his godly fist to the ski and seized the commission. Levi resumed his trance-like state. The letters came, L-O-T-S-A, spaghetti. Okay, I'm reading this one because it's quite funny. Lol, that takes a while. Pretend it was one by one. Geez, cool down, buddy. Of a sudden, the board exploded into flames and sent that plastic dealie flying through Levi's expertly applied eyeshadow. Fortunately, he was okay. Everyone was screwed now because the bod was everywhere, and it was flabbergasting, and everyone was so scared that they didn't see Mr. T hit the firecracker box behind his back. It was just a prank, but no one knew, and so they continued to run around afraid. And then Samus saw the box and smartly summarized, "You blew it up so Levi wouldn't know the Spageti Womna was." Everyone looked at him hatefully. Ridley and Samus snuck off and kissed and shared chocolate chips in the shrubbery for a while Levi sat and pondered what had become of the Spageti Womna he had longed for all his life. Once Ridley and Samus had come back, Dumbledore, oh my god, it's Dumbledore! Ah, my life is complete! Stopped by the door to drop something off for Levi. Guess what it was? Levi took the box off into the corner, and everyone was curious, and he looked inside X, and Mr. T could see he was really happy. He was really perceptive like data. But then, the noise! It was back! Levi was so scared, he snaped the box shut. No one cared about the sound and kept asking Levi what was in the box, but he was so scared he couldn't spoke. "That's the sound of death," Levi proclaimed. "Come on, Levi, don't be a chicken and open the box," Ridley emoted. Sumas looked at Ridley, impressed by his manly ways, and hoping she might be pregnant by him later. Levi braced himself and peek-led inside the box. There was a dramatic noise, and a character looked staringly like Wrigley emerged. "Are you the Spageti Woman because the dead told us that someone was hoping you made lots of Spielenberg, and then we got at this box mysteriously from your good friend Dumbledore? And I really want to know," Levi yelled. No one else was as excited, just shocked. It was another Ridley's, the imposter Ridley said. "No, I was meant for Samsu, because I'm her real love," and Samus knew it was true. Suspense. Alright guys, that's the end of chapter 1. I have to finish my project on poetry for class tomorrow, so I'll write some more later for yas. Love you all! BTW Ridley shot at my BF69XOXOX. That was stupid. Chapter 2. Slurp. Nathaniel slurped as he sucked it all up, complete with 2 balls. What the hell am I reading? It was too much for him, though, and he ended up spitting out in a great heap. "Can you hold in your spaghetti, Nathaniel? Oh, thank God it's spaghetti," Brutus chidedly. That's not even a word. Nathaniel's eyes squinted at the chide remark that he had said so chidedly. "Keep your chide remarks to yourself," he chided back. "Okay, I decree that for the duration of this fanfic you may never say the word chided again." We good? We good. Let's continue. After watching the spectacle for a long minutes, Captain Falcon decided to send in his 2 chips. Yeah, Nathaniel, don't be a loser." Captain Falcon was an old guy, but no one really knew that he had his helmet on all the time. Nathaniel looked at the mess he'd made, and couldn't but think that the effort was completely effortless and without a point. "Well, that's enough diddle-daddling to last us me an entire month," Bruntsu chided. "Now let's get going, unless you want late." The 3 hated off at once, for none of them didn't want to be late. They left the place they were in. Couldn't think of anything, don't sue, lol thanks, and headed off to Samus's house. If we're late, Levi is going to knock my pony sideways with his late again. Then they got stopped. Before them, my internet BF, Vegeta90914 Life, who had a ball in his hand of Energy Ball and about to enter level 4 Super Saiyan, he said in his awesome sexy voice, "My power is infinite. I have a power level of a big number. Give me your Pokemon cards, or..." But before he had even finished, the Frady Cats had dumped their Pokemon cards in a pile of cards before him. Then they ran to Samus's place. They went in quickly without thinking, and then realized it was dark and spooky. There was a sound, a faint scary own coming from deeper in the hose, and each could fell as their balls quite literally shriveled at the carry cometone. And then they were attacked. Everyone ran around the near-complete darkness and ran into each other scramming. And then the lights came on, and it was Levi. There was a drac darkness to his eyes, and he spoke darkly. My Spageti Womna was taken from me in ages past. On Imaung, you is the responsible for my lows. There, as another evil sounds, and soon Bosie screamed, Bob Saget, and Levi disappeared into disappearance. Captain Falcon, being older and more manly, took Traj, and said braviarily, let's get to the bottom of this, mystery crew. Then suddenly as Levi had suddenly surprised them, they were suddenly enveloped in darkness again. Nathaniel stumbled forward, after Brutus accidentally knocked him from behind, no innuendo intended, and hit him right into some kind of horrid crater. He cried, help! Help! There was an evil cray! But he was cut off as he vanished. What are you justice happened? Falcon cried. Suddenly, Brutus remembered he had a magic flashlight. He only just remembered it because the magic only else you know about it when you ended it, and also it's invisible, it's just magic, lol. He turned on the mag and took out the flashlight and turned it on and professionally navigated it towards the staircase down to the basement, and saw a big, awful tail retreating into the depths of the depthy dark. There she blows, he cried, and they ran off after it. Guided by their magic flashlight, they receded into the depths of the dank basement. Show your scaly head, you monster, or we'll find you and take your and us and find thy, Bertus yelled wittedly. They heard a yelp from the side and swiveled around to see what it was, and they managed to catch a glimpse as to what was revealed to be some kind of twisted ridley enveloped Nathaniel's head with its massive maw and crushed it with a sickening crack. Captain Falcon grabbed hold of Brutus's fists. Of his fists, he's not a fatty like you, J.K. Lamau. And they ran to the base end, figuring that what they had seen would be now worse than what had gone downstairs, and maybe a cold led them to a clue as to why this crazy stuff was happening on. Brutus, though, his flashlight about and saw a bodacious girl who'd led in the corner. It was Samsis's. Samsies, Brutus cried. What is happening? Nathaniel is dead. Sel looked up at them with tears in her eyes. It's the evil Ridley's. He's fitting everyone and says he loves me, and I know I love him, and I think the real Tiddly is dead upstairs, but I can't know for sure. Don't worry, he's too sexy to die. And I'm all trod up inside, and I'm scared, and I just wish this confusing spaghetti madness didn't shoo in the ouija and blew up in faces, ruin lives, and Ridley loved confusion. I need help. Cholera. They heard stomping behind them, and so they ran without looking back. Well, Brutus did, but F. Galcon had heard enough, and with a blood-curdling cry, he cacophoned, Falcon Panoch! As he swung around, and he hit Evil Ridley right between the beady eyes. Evil Ridley flew back, entwined the wall impotionless. No, my true loved one, Samsu cried just before she grabbed a vase and smashed it over Faculno's head. Batua's eye unged over and grabbed Simus's hand so they couldn't reach at a ting, else heavy to smack the captain around with, and she said 4 words that could change some fagot's life. Ridley was pregnant, but Brutus knew better, he said. I'll spell it right later. That was Evil Ridley, Samsu. A good Ridlet must be around somewhere, comma. But it seemed no answers would be forthcoming. Just then Levi barged in riding a flaming chariot like his Omish brethren did. He pointed a pointy sword at Brutus and clammed, You robbed me of the Spageti Womna. You will die by my hand. Everyone gasped, including Nathaniel, who had just returned from the bathroom. Is this the end of Brutus? Samsus exclaimed. Alright, that's it. Sorry I was a bit rushed. One Tree Hill is coming around in a second and I didn't want to miss it. Check back soon, R&R, hugs and kisses. End of... Wait a minute. That's not the end of the story. Let's investigate this. Chapter 7. Oh wait, it's Chapter 3, lol. Battle of the Coroner and Captain Falcon. Livia sat on his flaming horse and whirled his flaming sword around. His flammaging Hayden flammed. I will be one with the Womna I saw, and then I'll walk there on your organs tied to my footies. Barutsu dived away and out of the window, and he, Brutus, fell over, and the flaming flames wooest over him like a hot bar or an oven on a stick. Captain Falcon locked on and cried, I'll save Brutus from the evil fatey. Cape Town Falcone wound up for his signature move like Mr. T leapt into action to defend Levi, crying, don't you make fun of him. Excuse me, and leapt fearlessly at the old guy. With a thwomp, they collided with a knout forced to knock down... I apologise for even reading this line. They collided with enough force to knock down both trade centres. What the fuck is wrong with this fanfic writer? Caption Fellatio fell back... You can't do a line like Caption Fellatio after talking about knocking down the trade centres. What the fuck's wrong with you? Captain Fellatio fell back from the V-Force, but Mr. T was unhindered. If you mess with lava, you mess me with... It would seem Mr. T had been taken over by the Cholera and manipulated by a dark Frost. An epic battle ensued. Each old smelly bag of a man met each Cobra's Punjab for punch and kick for kick, and bitty for fib, and eventually their manly man parts hung from their shorts in ejection. Suddenly there was a terrific rumble, and the ceiling collapsed, revealing an exact replica of Terome Chariot Race Place. Everyone was shocked, except for Levi, who had orchestrated the entire plot. Come, Brewfish, we will now find who is the real man, and I can prove myself worthy of the Spageti Womna, Levi roared with convict. Everyone suddenly realised there was another chariot for Brutus to ride, see complete with 2 horses. Like the Ramadan say, all priests pray prayers, he finished. This has to be a parody. The Rakek was about to begin, and in the running was a Republican and a Democrat and also a commie, but he got shot and died. Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! Meanwhile, Samus remained in the darkness of the dark house. The lights were reeked because of the Roman palace, and imaged the cropes of her love. Dark Ridley-dee-ly-dee-ly-dee-ly-dee, she cried, and said, Oh Ridley, I want you so hard, I forgot you'd never left me, sad face. At to ready, the announcer Dumbledore cried. Exclamation mark, the horses went speeding over, Cheerios in tow. Levi shot a hateful look at Brutshook, but he missed and it hit Dumbledore off his tower, and he fell on the Republican Crow, swerved into the Democrat, and they all exploded SM and died in red-hot fire. And then, to make matters worse, Nathan came walk and a fan came out of the waskett room right before Lisbon flaming chariot and a sun tannin on speedy fastness. Air was exploded like something that splodes kinda, and his Kakasi slept over thump. You ever seen video games and television shows where people are reading fake languages and it's so corny yet they deliver it with such conviction? That's how I feel right now. Rility sprang up and cried, Now my Nathan is dead. Not even dying and hot butt rate by Satan could stop my mourning. Before anyone could investigate, all eastward ran to the Spageti as Butsu made a valiant effort to overtake Levi's flaming chariot of death. Grinding his turf, Bertez put the pedal to the metal, and Chateau after leave lick a bat out of hell. Oh, operator, give me the number 9. Love that song, lol. But the heads not anticipated Levi's prowess with the chariot hot. Flying around the second bend, Levi unleashed his Dogie Garfunkel. Oh yeah, he also unleashed his angry wrath and quickliness. Tear two were neck and neck, and just before the finish, Brutsu had a plan. He cried, I really can't pronounce that word, 'cause he swallowed the bug, Lamau. And then he cried, Levi, Spageti Womna is, and now it's gap spelled backwards. And suddenly, Levi's chariot became stiff and harangued and explosionated into a lot of parts. Levi was so shocked by the newness he had to find out what Nemau Iskapta was backwards, and so he ran with all his might to find a calculator. Brutsu, the champion, rowed in pleasure. He cast a look down to his friends, his faithful Camponians, and cried, Horge, I'm the Camption, bow before me. Every Wyan ran up to congratulate him. Batu Falcon, tata old cunt, broke the moment when he asked, Where did Nathan, Ridley, and Darkly and Sambasu go? And as Brutu looked about, he saw that the own to Captain and Levi and Mr. T could have been seen. He sad face, because to be congratulated by old guys is not so much fun as to be congratulated by a kiss on the parts by a hot fancy girl like Samus. It says, so he said, old guys, let's find hosts for and see what's they're up to because these parts need kissing. Coaten Falcno puckered up a big wet kiss when Brutsu charged af in hot pursuit. Sodlin terror-struck the Roman Colosseum. The race being completed began to fall apart one. Big chunks of stuff fell left and they ref scramming towards the host for their very lives. Captain Fabio couldn't keep up because he's old and flabby and was crushed under tons of rubili. Safe inside the house, Brutus's mind was full of equations. What were those four whippersnappers? When would Levioso return, and will he find his Spageti Womna? Who was the Womna? Who was phone? Before he could ponder any more, Mr. T yelled, Excuse me, WTF are you doing? Ola cooler, 'cause he's the man. Nathaniel was getting undressed. Everyone gave him weird looks as he tore his pants off in one smart motion. Why are you getting undressed, Nathaniel? Batursu cried, suddenly aware of it happening right beside him. What? Nathaniel said sheepishly. I thought it was penis time. Oh my god, they all exclaimed. Nathaniel is a homosexual. End of fanfic. At least as far as I know. My, wasn't that wonderful. What did we learn here, boys and girls? Not a fucking thing. Thanks for listening. See you next time on the wonderful, wacky, and kind of weird world of the HellfireComms dramatic readings. Bye-bye for now.